In nature, being beautiful is not a gift, it's a punishment. The most colorful fish in the ocean is also the easiest to find. The loudest bird in the forest is also the first one the predator hears. The most striking male in the herd is the one every threat locks onto first. Beauty in nature doesn't make you safer, it makes you a target. And yet, male animals across every species on this planet keep getting more beautiful, more colorful, more dramatic, more impossible, generation after generation. Something is forcing them to, something that turns out to be far more brutal than anything a predator could do. To understand what that something is, you have to go back to a man sitting in his study in 1860, staring at a single feather, getting genuinely angry about it. Charles Darwin had just finished one of the most important books ever written. He had explained how life works, how the strong survive, how species adapt across generations. Then someone sent him a peacock feather, and it broke everything. That tail made no sense. Too heavy, too slow, too visible. By every rule Darwin had spent his life writing, natural selection should have eliminated it generations ago. A peacock with that tail should be dead before it reproduces. But the peacock kept existing, kept growing that tail, kept making it bigger every generation. Darwin wrote that the sight of a peacock's tail made him physically sick. Not because it was ugly, because it was beautiful in a way his theory couldn't explain. And he knew, if his theory couldn't explain the peacock, something was missing. It took him 12 years to figure out what. The answer was a second force running through nature, alongside natural selection, quieter, but in certain situations, far more powerful. Darwin called it sexual selection. Survival isn't the only game being played. There's a second game. And the rules aren't written by predators or weather or food supply. They're written by females. Every time a female chooses one male over another, she casts a vote. A vote for what the next generation looks like, what traits continue, what disappears. And when millions of females make millions of these choices across thousands of generations, those choices build something extraordinary. They build the peacock's tail. They build the lion's mane. They build the bright red chest of a tiny bird that has no business being that visible in a forest full of things trying to eat it. But here's where it gets uncomfortable. Why would a female choose the most dangerous male to be around? The most visible one? The one most likely to attract predators to her nest? That question sat unanswered for over a century. Then in 1975, a biologist named Amotz Zahavi proposed something his colleagues immediately rejected. He called it the handicap principle. The peacock's tail isn't beautiful despite being dangerous. It's beautiful because it's dangerous. A male who survives while dragging around that tail, while being that visible, that slow, that exposed, is proving something. He's proving his genetics are strong enough to overcome a serious disadvantage. The tail is a test. Surviving it is the proof. A female isn't choosing the prettiest male. She's choosing the male who survived being pretty. Those are not the same thing. Researchers pushed back hard. Then the data came in. Male barn swallows with longer tail feathers, a genuine physical handicap during flight, had lower parasite loads than males with shorter tails. The long tail wasn't decoration. It was an honest signal. Only a genuinely healthy male could grow that tail and still fly well enough to survive. In guppies, the brightness of a male's coloring correlated directly with his immune system strength. The brightest males weren't just attractive. They were the healthiest. The coloring was a live readout of biological quality. A signal that couldn't be faked because maintaining it required real physiological resources. And here's what makes this genuinely strange. The females don't know any of this consciously. There is no moment where a peahen thinks that tail indicates strong genetic resistance to parasites. She just feels drawn to it. Something in her nervous system, built by millions of years of evolution, responds to the signal automatically. The preference was written into her by every generation of females before her who chose correctly and had healthier offspring as a result. She isn't making a rational decision. She's running a program so old it predates rational thought entirely. But this is where it gets brutal, because the selection is absolute. In species with strong sexual selection, the reproductive gap between males is staggering. In elephant seals, the top 4% of males account for nearly 90% of all reproduction in a single season. The other 96% contribute almost nothing. They exist, they breathe, they move through the world, but reproductively they are invisible. Everything they are, everything they survived, every day they lived, passes on nothing. That is not a gentle system. It concentrates everything into the few and gives almost nothing to the rest. And it runs every single day, across every species where females choose. every dawn chorus you've ever heard, every impossible tale, every bright color against a dark forest. All of it is males competing in a game where second place means nothing. And sometimes the game goes too far. Researchers call it runaway selection. A female develops a preference for slightly longer tail feathers. Males with longer tails get chosen more. Their sons inherit longer tails. Their daughters inherit the preference. The sons get chosen even more. The tails get longer. The preference gets stronger. Each generation amplifies both, until the tail becomes so extreme it genuinely compromises survival. At that point, two forces hold it in balance. Sexual selection pulling it longer. Natural selection killing off males whose tails got too long to survive. The species settles at the most extreme tail length that still allows enough males to live long enough to reproduce. That balance point is different for every species, and it produces some of the most breathtaking things life has ever made. Look at a peacock one more time. That tail weighs him down every day of his life, makes him slower, more visible, more vulnerable. He did not choose it. He was built for it by millions of generations of females choosing males exactly like him. It exists because it worked, because carrying it and surviving anyway said something nothing else could say as clearly. I am still here, despite everything this costs me. I am still here. That is what beauty is doing in nature, not decoration, not accident. A signal sent across millions of years between living things that have never stopped asking the same question of each other. Are you worth continuing? The peacock's answer is that tail. And the answer has been working for a very long time.